Good morning, everybody. Our first budget hearing this morning is for the Office of the District Attorney. And before we get started, I have a brief statement I've been giving before each one of our hearings. Obviously, I guess this is my 2-week anniversary, and I'm getting up to speed on everything. I know that y'all have been informed by the finance director, who's here with me right now, Talia Lomax O'Neill, and also probably been in consultation with the city's chief strategy officer, Brian Kelsey, who's to my right, that this is essentially a status quo budget year. Over the last couple of years, we've had increases in revenue of $100 and $120 million, which has allowed the city to expand services and increase pay for employees. This year, we will have another increase in revenues, but not of that magnitude. In part, that's due to a drop in property tax revenues that are occurring this year because of a high number of successful appeals of reappraisals. I think we had 49% or more informal appeals than we previously had, and so we're seeing a reduction in revenues there. Nevertheless, we're going to maintain our low property tax rate of $3.15 in the Urban Services District, and expect to be able to continue to provide all the services that the city has had in the past 2 years within those revenues. That's sort of the backdrop to all these budget hearings. And if you could introduce yourself and whomever's with you, and give a brief overview of the department, maybe some successes over the last couple of years, and then I'm sure at the end we'll have a few questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Amy Hunter, and Roger Moore and I are the co-deputies of the District Attorney General's office. Today I'm here on behalf of General Glenn Funk, who is the District Attorney General for the 20th Judicial District. He regrets not being able to be here for this hearing today. With me today are Michael Brook, who is the longtime COO and CFO of the District Attorney's Office, Mackenzie Britt, who is the Director of Victim Witness Services, Ashley Cathy, who is a Victim Witness Coordinator who staffs the felony jail docket, Artie Griffin, who is an Assistant District Attorney in our office who handles the screening and prosecution of cases involving vulnerable adults, and Dr. Dorinda Carter, who is our Chief of Staff. First, I'd like to thank you and your administration for your support of our office. Our office is victim-focused, and the resources that you all provide for us allow us to handle all of our cases, but we are especially grateful that we're able to support the victims of domestic violence, of aggravated personal crimes, and crimes against children. Our office also thanks JIS, Metro ITS, and the Metro Nashville Police Department for their support. First, I'd like to update you on some past budget items. In fiscal year 2017, Metro provided funds to relocate the grand jury meeting room. The grand jury from winter 2016 mentioned in their final report that they would feel like a more independent body if they did not meet in the office of the district attorney. We agreed that because the grand jury is in fact an independent body and reports to a judge and not the district attorney, that it would be preferable for the grand jurors to not perceive their function as an arm of our office. The cases that are presented to grand jurors are presented by police officers, detectives, and witnesses without a district attorney present in the room. The grand jury began meeting in the new space on July 1st of 2017, and the move has been an enormous success. And it has reinforced the independence of the grand jury. In fiscal year 2018, Metro provided a staffing enhancement by adding victim advocate Ashley Cathy to staff the felony jail docket. Because Ashley is able to call the victims and the witnesses ahead of their court date and explain to them where they are supposed to appear, why they are supposed to appear, and get general information from them, such as how much restitution is owed to them, or what they would like to see happen on their case. It makes the docket run so much more efficiently. Less cases have to be continued to get witnesses to court, and having her involved provides continuity of cases, and the process is just better because more cases are either settled because of victim involvement and communication with them, or they are handled by a preliminary hearing, binding the case over to the grand jury rather than having to do a direct presentment because either a witness or a victim was not present for court. Most felony cases with arrests originate on this particular docket, and she is the first point of contact, usually, from our office with a victim of violent or any other type of crime. She additionally collects information regarding injuries and is able to help the victim plug into services like counseling or providing them information about victims' compensation. She is able to provide each victim of a crime with a victim's rights brochure before the victim ever even leaves the courtroom. We had originally planned in this budget to ask for funding for an assistant DA and an advocate to staff our elderly and vulnerable adult program. However, as suggested by you and the finance department, we learned that a flat budget is preferable this year, and we are removing that item and considering it for fiscal year 2020. Artie Griffin is currently staffing the program, and in 2020 we may request 2 additional FTEs to assist her in staffing the program. Currently, Artie is a team of 1. She considers every single referral that is made to Adult Protective Services. In 2017, Artie considered 1,290 referrals, and she meets with Adult Protective Services once every week. Approximately 5 to 10% of these cases result in criminal cases that go to court. And she follows these cases through the prosecution and the resolution, and their resolution. In order of most to least frequent, the referrals concern neglect, financial, physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. Now on to fiscal year 2019. As you know, we have 70 attorneys in our office. 45 are paid by the state and 25 are paid by Metro. But all attorney salaries in our office are based on the statutory state pay scale. In Metro, our colleagues at the Public Defender's Office have a starting salary of $63,000, while the assistant district attorneys at our office have a starting salary of $49,000. Last year, we asked for assistant district attorney salaries to start roughly the same as the public defenders, which would be the state pay scale plus $10,000. Specifically, the ask was for a $10,000 raise for each attorney in the office. Eventually, the Metro Council appropriated a $5,000 raise to each attorney in the office with a recommendation that each attorney would get the other $5,000 of the raise in fiscal year 2019. So that is our first request this year, the additional $5,000 for the attorneys to make our salary comparable with that of the public defenders. Why should our salary be comparable with the public defenders? Well, number one, fairness. Our office is charged with protecting the community and should at least be paid as much as the public defenders who are representing citizens who are accused of committing crimes. It takes our attorneys 5 years through step raises just to earn the same as a public defender who just walked out of law school. Additionally, on criminal dockets, our office is responsible for handling all of the cases on the docket, where the Office of the Public Defender is handling only a portion of those. They are representing clients who are indigent and on cases that they don't have a conflict with. Secondly, attraction and retention. It is in our office's best interest to be competitive and to be able to attract the best and the brightest attorneys. And once we do attract them, it's important for us to keep them. We are losing new hires after we train them because they are either going to other agencies who are able to pay them more, or to work in private practice. This modification is $401,200 and also includes the FICA and pension associated with this increase. Our second request is the Metro District Attorney annual step increases, which is $50,000. The third request is a legal rent increase, which is $15,300. Our fourth request involves the Victims of Crime Act. And it is a Victim of Crime Act grant extension match adjustment, which adds 1 FTE new advocate on July 1st of 2018 for a total of 4 FTEs. Currently, our child sex abuse section has 2 victim advocates, and we have 1 victim advocate who is serving the Hispanic population, or Hispanic victims. This adds 1 more advocate to serve the underserved in our population. Now, 80% of this is funded by a federal grant, and 20% would be funded by Metro. This is a $6,000 modification. Every other budget modification on our budget are related to the Metro Nashville Police Department body-worn camera deployment. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to meet with you, look forward to working with you, and I'm glad to answer any questions that you might have.
I guess my first question is the salary component.
Yes.
Did you approach the state in terms of maybe doing a pay study or anything regarding the entry level for those salaries?
I think that the difference is it's a cost of living in Nashville. From what I understand, there was a study done to determine what is the appropriate level to pay attorneys in the city of Nashville, and the other attorneys who work for the city of Nashville are paid on that scale, comparable to what the public defenders are earning. Across the state, our salary is tied to a statute, and I believe that part of it is lower, and it's reflected that way because of the rural communities. But in the city of Nashville, because of cost of living and other variables, the pay should be higher, and our salary should be at least that of the public defenders.
Okay. And my other question had to do with the elder abuse. Mm-hmm. I wonder, I want to know what your interaction is with the Office of the Conservatorship, if any.
I think that General Griffin would be better equipped to answer that question.
Okay.
At this point in the stage of developing our VAPIT unit based on the statute that was enacted last year, I'm in the process of meeting with each individual office to see what their interaction is with the elderly and vulnerable adult population, to make sure that our office is having communication. So if they should find that they have a situation where they feel that there's a criminal case that may arise, then we can do that. At this point, I have not been able to reach out to the Office of Conservatorship, but I am in the process of meeting with each of those individual state agencies.
They really do good work in that area.
Absolutely.
So, I was just wondering about that piece of it. Okay.
You mentioned that you were losing new hires because of the pay scale. Could you elaborate on that a little bit, maybe quantify, just so we can get some context?
Yes. Recently, we had one of our assistant DAs go to Memphis to take a job there, where she was going to be paid about $10,000 more than what she was being paid here in Nashville. Also, recently, we had an assistant DA who went to a component of the mental health branch to work as an attorney there, and her stated reasons for leaving included a higher pay scale. We additionally had another person in our office recently go work for the TBI for an increased amount of money.
So on a percentage terms, I mean, what does that look like in terms of annual turnover, and how does the pay impact that?
Well, there are 70 attorneys in our office, and I can think of about 5 in the last couple of years who have left for that reason.
Is that it?
Yep. For now.
Well, yeah. So Thank you very much for coming. I'm familiar with the council's commitment last year, because I was in a different role, in terms of trying to get that to that $10,000, and that's obviously something we'll take a very close look at, even though we're in a status quo budget. To make sure we're all on the same page in terms of the body-worn cams. I'm committed to making sure that happens. There is some sense that it's going to take more time than we're not going to be ready July 1 to deploy. I think the procurement process at the police department is probably early next year before they're even ready to start rolling them out. So between now and the submission of the budget, we'll be pulling together all the interested parties just to make sure we're budgeting appropriately for what actually is going to happen in the coming fiscal year. So I appreciate the number. I wish it had one fewer zeros, make it a lot easier. But there is remains a commitment to proceed in that direction. But I appreciate your coming, and send General Funk my regards, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.